What is going on YouTube? Kronos here, and welcome back to another PSO2 video. So today we're actually going to be going over a very useful tool that has existed in the community for quite some time, and I feel like really haven't dove in, or dove in. The word is gotten into nearly as much as we possibly can. But before we jump into that, guys, if you're new to the channel, my name is Chrono. I cover primarily PSO2 content. We'd much appreciate to subscribe as we work our way towards that 10K mark. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump into this. So why did I decide to make a video about this all of a sudden? Well, I know myself personally, I've been looking at this calculator. I've been showing, pieces of it and showing people information. And there's one thing I've noticed that's happened pretty consistently. But to kind of give a better picture of this, I want to kind of take us a little bit back. So a few weeks ago, I was streaming and I came across this article over on the PSO2 website. It's basically the article showing off the Evil Eclipse or whatever, however these are pronounced. Evil Eclipse weapons, Evil Eclipse, that's what it is, Evil Eclipse. Evil Eclipse weapons, and showing off not only, how many of the prep tickets we're gonna need for them, but also showing off their potential. Now, I'm gonna link it in the video description because I was pretty much halfway through making a very similar video and then thought, you know what? It's not really gonna do the community any justice. Thrift made a really awesome video covering the Evil Eclipse weapons and just how strong they are mathematically. It's absolutely insane. If you guys haven't seen the video itself, I'd highly recommend checking it out. I'm gonna leave a link in the video description to it. Hopefully I remember. If I don't remember, someone remind me in the comments, but I'll leave a link in the video description to it. You guys can check that out. It's pretty crazy how strong these weapons can be, even without pouring all of your stats into it, because realistically speaking, I feel like these aren't going to be weapons we use at the end of our journey through Kavaris? But at the end of our journey through Kavaris, I think it's gonna be like take us to the end of it, and there's gonna be something else there at the very end. But regardless, that's not what we're here to talk about. This just sparked the idea for the video itself. And since Thrift has already made a fantastic video about stuff that I basically would cover myself, I figured, why not talk about the tool that was used to help show off those numbers? Now, like I said, I've shown this off before. Thrift has shown off, some calculations to show people about this thing, and honestly, this tool it's fantastic. It's super awesome, and it helps with the one thing I see pop up in my channel all the time. Hey, I've got XYZ set up. If I want to upgrade my weapon, how much stronger am I really getting? Or is it worth upgrading? Should I look into upgrading? So on and so forth. If you want the short answer for the new Evil Eclipse weapons, if that's what you're looking for, I'm not someone that's going to hold you guys down. I just ask you like the video, you pop over to Thrift's video, like their video as well, because it gives you this answer. But the long story short is the new Evil Eclipse weapons are going to smash our current weapons. Like, it's basically a gear reset of our current weapons. And I know that feels kind of bad, but the nice thing about it is, like, not only does it gear reset the weapons in a sense, it also doesn't even require you to have insanely powerful augments to beat what you currently have. Now, for most people, you've had these weapons for a few months, so it's not a huge deal. But for some people that are catching up, this is like massively awesome for them. That means you can go into the new region and not feel like you're insanely behind. You're basically on par with where other people are going to be. That's not even counting all the new region augments and things of that sort. So it's super, super cool. So the short version is new weapons are going to be dope. But how do we get these calculations that these new weapons are going to be dope? That's what I want to show you guys today. So I'm going to leave a link in the video description to this as well. This is, and I'm probably mispronouncing this. I am so sorry. It's Ryatsu. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Ryatsu's damage sheet, damage calculation that's available to you guys. All you need to do, click on the file button here and click on make a copy. You'll bring this up in your own Google Sheet setup, and you'll have a copy of it that you can actually edit it. Here's mine here. Now, when you start with yours, this is what it's going to look like. You'll have access to these different sections. There's some things you're going to have to update. The most important thing is, you pop over to the changelog, you'll notice that this hasn't been updated since February 19th, meaning that this cell here that's been added, I personally added this. This does not exist in the usual sheet. If we actually pop over to this, you can see that's not there. I added this manually. On top of that, there's also information that just isn't available. Like, for example, this is showing at 40, and you can see there's 950 attack versus 45 and 1044. How did I get these values? How does this work? Well, you pop over to the enemy sheet. You can actually see some information here, some advanced values, but it doesn't go past 44. How do I get a hold of this? Well, you can see there's actually a Google Doc here that'll pop you over to this bestiary. And this bestiary has actually been updated. Super cool. And we can see all the way down to 49. And we know at level 49, the only enemies that are level 49 are Gigantics. And they're kind of like our strongest set of enemies. So it's a good way to kind of gauge how much damage we can deal against the strongest enemies we have available. So here's what we're going to do. Pop back over here. Let me kind of break this down. We want to gather a few pieces of information that we currently don't have in this setup. Oh, gotta get to the right one. Sorry about that. First off, the defensive values of the enemies that we're going to be checking our weapon against. We can actually find this in the bestiary. If we pop over, go to 49, go to defense, and bam, it's right here. How do we know this is correct? How do we know this is accurate? Well, we can go up to 44, which, I'm sorry, 45. No, 44. 44, I was right the first time, because this is based on being level 40. We can go up to 44, and we can check it against what we have here. Pop over here, we can see 1021.39. 1021.39. Right on cue. So we know that this is the value we're looking for. Pop back down to 49, 1123.52. We can go ahead and just, I mean, realistically, you don't have to slot this in over here. I just do, that way I have it set up for myself. Realistically, I have to just toss it into here. You just put it here. And when you're fighting a Gigantics, they have an innate 50% damage reduction. So just plug in that 50% or just leave it as it is. I believe it should still stay the same. And you're basically good to go there. The only other thing you're going to need is your attack value. Now, the attack value is going to depend on the class that you are. I'm going to leave a link in the video description to this as well. Shout out to Thrift, who was able to shoot me over this information. But it's a link over to the NGS verification data storage. Now, this information is going to be fairly useful into finding out basically the classes and what stats they have at certain levels. This one here will show us, we can see Bouncer, we can see Braver, Techer, Force, Gunner, Ranger, and Fighter, and Hunter. Now, it looks like they went based on Fighter from what I can tell. I can tell that is if I pop on down to level 40 on Fighter, it's 950 attack rating, it looks like. Yep, 950 attack. And you can see there are no other classes at level 40 that have the same amount. And if we pop back to the original, see that says 950, right? 950, 950. So we know that they went based on Fighter. Now, as we all know, I primarily play Bouncer. So I'm going to use Bouncer instead. And I'm going to plug in 1044 because we're level 45. Now we can always test these values later in and see what they're going to be when we hit level 60. But some of these values are estimates based on the formula that's found for earlier levels. This might change, but it's pretty accurate up to level 45 from what I've found. So we're going to plug in our 45, which is 1144, directly into here. So now we have our attack value, which is important. We have our defense value, also important. What about the rest of this? What else are we gathering here? Now, I have spit a lot of information at you guys. If you're lost, take a moment, rewind, run through it again, pause in individual locations basically, get one piece of info, pause, let it play through, gather the second piece of info after you pause it, and we'll come up to this section here. Cool? Awesome. So where are we at this next step? The next step is we want to actually input the information for our units. Now, this is up to you. You can just copy what I have here. I would put in your own personal units and have it, give you values based on your units. Currently, what I have here is the strongest setup that you can have at the moment for units at level 45. You can see this across the board. It's potency values. So the base here is just the base of what the unit's going to have. And these are the affixes themselves. So 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, and 2. That is the strongest amount of potency you can get with 2%, 2.5, and 2.5 under these two with 0 here. Because that is, I believe, what is it? It's like soul and something else. I forget what the other thing actually is. But 2 augments don't have floor potency. So that'll give you what you currently have. Now, we have this across the board. Again, I recommend you put in your own units here, but you can use the strongest type because as long as you're comparing your weapon, the weapon that you're looking at upgrading with the same set of units, it should realistically be fine. You can see how much of a percentage increase it is, but I like to get the numbers of what I personally have. So if it weren't for me making this video, I would just have my units in here, which are very, very close to this anyway. So it's not really a huge deal. But we have that in here. I did the same thing for the weapon. Again, nothing too crazy here. The only difference on the weapon is there is no, potency base amount. It's just what the actual augments are. Now, how do we look at, what weapon we're looking for? This is actually pretty easy. So all you need to do is take your base attack of the weapon, its unconditional potency, its conditional potency, its weapon crit if it has any crit, and the variance. There's a couple of things that you want to go ahead and update here. First off, your base attack. Very easy to find. We can head over to the Visiphone, hop over to some soaring blades, and let's take a look at our current soaring blades. So we can see if we're looking at the Cinquim soaring blades, we've got 385 attack. So pop back over to our damage calc. 385 base attack, that's fully upgraded. We want to check a look at what the unconditional potency is. Now, unconditional potency just means its potential that is up all the time. Basically, you don't have to have like a specific dodge or be in a certain area to have this potential pop. So we know that 26 is across the board. That's always up. So we can fill that in. It has no conditional potency. We don't have to worry about that. Its potency doesn't involve crit in any sort of way, shape, or form. We don't have to worry about that. And its variance. Its variance is 75%. We basically take the low roll of this. 75% is a low roll. And we can see what we have as far as damage is concerned. Now with all this information, we can pop over here to damage. And we can see what our damage is when we're looking at no presets with a level 1 attack, Vital, and Terminus. You can actually compare attack between Termina. We can look at it all the way up to level 5 and see realistically how much damage we're really pushing out there. We can look at it, compared to some Gigantics information. I believe this is, this might be active to 45 right now instead of 40. I'm sorry, this might be active to 49 right now because we changed this defensive value. Let me see if this actually moves around. We'll take a look at this in real time. So what if I put 10, 21, 39, does this change? This does not change. So that doesn't change at all. It looks like it's based on probably what's in this cell here. I would have to look further at the actual formulas based on how this would move around. So this isn't really super helpful for us as far as this is concerned, but here is really nice because it's basing it off of defensive values that we actually input here. So because we have 11, 23, 52, because this defense value is higher, it actually shows it compared to this here. So it's really nice. Keeps things pretty even across the board. So we can see how much damage we're actually getting. And we can also see a stat summary sheet across the board here. We have a 98% damage or adjusted variance based on all of our gear that we have equipped, which means we're basically hitting close to our max almost all the time, even without a crit, which is super awesome. We can see the adjusted variance, adjusted potential, everything across the board of what we're looking at. Some damage information. Again, this isn't super valuable to me. This is mostly where I'm kind of keeping my eye on because we can see damage without presets and everything else, right? And it's always based on these this enemy adjusted defense value. Now, why is this useful? Well, we can find out with this Kavaris information here how strong our new weapons are going to be. Now, there's one small caveat I want to make here, but I feel like it's really minute. Technically, we don't have the information of what the damage variance is going to be on this weapon. I don't foresee them increasing it, and I don't see a situation where they decrease it. As you can see on the damage variance of weapons, everything is 70% at below 4 stars, so 3 stars and below, all 70%. Everything above that, 4 stars and above, are 75%, except for the elemental weapons. All the elemental weapons are still 70%, and then everything else is 75. So I don't foresee a situation where they increase. I mean, if they're gonna do anything, they would increase it at a higher star level. And if they were to increase it, we would actually move around how we would do our augments. We probably would drop some floor potency because we're almost capping out our floor potency. If this was 75%, like actually, we can use the calculator to take a look, right? Let's say this is 80% instead of 75, right? Bam, our adjusted variance is actually 100%. Heck, let's say if it was 78%, right? Our adjusted variance is still 100%. What would it take for this to actually, let's see, 77? 77 to 100, 76? 76 is still 100%. 75 is the only place where this drops down to 98.9. So it's so close. Yeah, it's 1.1% off. It's so incredibly close. I don't foresee it being anything but 75% variance, but technically speaking, we don't have the exact variance available. So it's worth mentioning this. But 75 is a pretty good bet. Now we can take 471 and we can plug this in. Now keep an eye on this damage while we're doing this. Keep an eye on this formula right here. Not formula, I'm sorry, but this damage amount right here. We can plug in 471. Now we do have to change its potency a bit, right? Because its potency is 22%. It's not 26. So we'll go ahead and plug in the 22%. And look what happens. Look at how much that actually increases by. It's damn near a 20% increase in damage to the target. That is absolutely bonkers as far as damage is concerned. Absolutely insane. So these new weapons are going to crush. But that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is to help you guys understand how you can take a look at this information yourself. Part of what I want to show you is that you have access to tools that other people have made available to the community. And I'll be honest, I'm not in communication with this individual. Again, I'm probably butchering this name, and I'm so sorry, Rats, if you see this, or if anyone in the community happens to get a hold of them and they send this over to them, whatever it happens to be, feel free to DM me. You can always catch me over on Discord. There's a link to my Discord in the video description. Pop over, DM me, let me know what's up, if there's anything that I missed, anything that you want to go ahead and share with the community itself. If you plan on updating this, fingers crossed that you do, because this information is absolutely invaluable. I would love to see an updated version of this and it continue forward. And if you happen to have anything that you want to shout out in the video itself, or anything you want to add to the video, I feel like people should get credit for the work that they put in, and I don't want to take credit for this amazing tool, because everyone knows I definitely did not put this together and could not. So regardless, hopefully this has been helpful to some of you guys out there. If you're ever getting into a situation where you're like, man, is it worth for me to upgrade? How much am I actually getting out of this? How much more damage can I realistically push out of my character? How much more do I need? You'll absolutely be able to see it here. Now, one giant freaking caveat with all of this. This is not me telling you absolutely need to upgrade. This is me telling you that it's almost free at this point. Like, it's insane how much more powerful you can become with very little effort moving into the next region. So if there was ever a time to get a new weapon, now is the time I recommend everyone do it. And on top of that, little sneak peek, I know, Thrift also mentioned in his video, you can trade the weapons back in for more tickets to then get more weapons. So even if you're someone who likes to level up multiple classes, just don't throw all of your all of your augments into your weapon. Augment your gear instead, level up the class, and then throw the weapon back into more tickets, and then buy a different weapon. You can absolutely get complete use out of these. It's insane. This basically until the 5th of what is that? That's July rolls around. We're going to be pretty much feasting as far as the new region is concerned. And hopefully you guys are able to use that to your advantage just as much as I plan to as well. Anyway, guys, I'm not sure how useful this is going to be for anyone. Hopefully I did this justice. It's a lot of information to take in, and it took me a little while to figure out kind of how to adjust things to make it make sense. Numbers can be a bit difficult, and we all know that sometimes it can be a bit of a pega. If I missed anything, feel free to toss in the comments below. Like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you want to keep up with more, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Peace out.